Welcome to Folktales Folklore, where we explore new stories and tell old tales. We are building a community through the ancient art of storytelling. We share our stories, and we hope to inspire you to stand up, sing out, to find your voice. Our stories shape our world. Your story can change the world. Join the chorus and fall in love with the world again and all of its possibilities. We are here in the home of my native ancestors. My name is Brian Fox Ellis. My friends call me Fox. Consider yourself a friend, you can call me Mr. Fox. And my great-great-great-grandma, I have to go back 5 generations, was Tsalagi. Most people say Cherokee, and that's acceptable. But can you say Tsalagi? That means the people. Like the Pueblo, they are the people. The Shawanadise or Shawnee, they're the South Wind people. Lakota means the people. What are you? You're the people. What are we? We're the people. And that's what Tsalagi means. We are the people. But here we are at Camp Wokonda, and maybe when you're walking down the road, you notice that the cabins are named after the various tribes. And I really like the way they did that because they're actually honoring the tribes that used to live right here. If you lived here 1,000 years ago, camping out is what you did every night, all year round. Sitting around the campfire, telling stories, entertaining yourself, that's what everybody did. And you can do too. Actually, one of my goals tonight is I would like you to learn one of these stories, so next time you're at a camp out, especially your older kids, you could take turns telling stories. Who has a favorite scary story? Maybe we'll end with one of those. But these are stories you can learn, you can tell. And parents, if you join in, you'll learn them too. If you don't join in, you won't learn them. And you know the kids are going to want to hear it again. So join in, you can learn them. The first story I'd like to tell you is a story told by the Shawnee or Shawanadise. And the Shawnee traveled through this area. We actually have documentation that Tecumseh, the great war chief, was right here along the Illinois River. He met with Potawatomi Chief Gomo. But we know that Tecumseh was here, and he was Shawnee. I learned this story from a Shawnee storyteller, Fred Shaw, a good friend of mine, and I do need some help. Listen closely, you'll know when to join in. Let's begin with a story from the beginning. In the beginning, when the world was new, all there was darkness. Can you close your eyes for just a moment and imagine nothing at all? And into that darkness, Gitchi Manatu, maker of us all, thought about light, and you can open your eyes. Psh, the sun was made, but oh, that's too hot. Hurts your eyes to look at. So Gitchi Manatu thought about a softer light. Psh, and the moon was made. Ah, that was much more beautiful. How many of you have seen the moon tonight? It's almost full. Next Saturday, it'll be a full moon. And then Gitchi Manatu thought about little tiny lights. Psh, 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 thousands of little tiny lights. Psh, 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 and made, anybody? Stars. Now you might think that's strange. Whatever Gitchi Manatu thought about was made. But that's how the world was made. And think about it. How many of you ever made something? Don't you first have to imagine it? In that way, you can be part of the story of creation. And in that way, Gitchi Manatu made the sun, the moon, the stars. And then Gitchi Manatu thought about a big thought, and the earth was made. And then Gitchi Manatu thought about rain. Can you raise your hands and wiggle your fingers? While you move your hands up and down. That's sign language for rain. And the rains began to come, and a little creek was formed, and a raging river, and ocean waves. And soon the world was covered with water. Now time out. It's intriguing to me that every culture around the world tells a story about a great flood. You know why? Because there was one. If you dig down right here, the rock you find has seashells. If you were here 350 million years ago, you'd better be holding your breath because you'd be underwater. And there were sea turtles right here. We have found their fossils. Actually, I have a friend who is the North Dakota expert on sea turtles of North Dakota. Because all this land was underwater. And then Gitchi Manatu made animals, and here's where I need your help. I'll call on you if you raise your hand. What is your favorite wild animal that used to live or maybe still lives here? Yes, ma'am. A sloth, they're very slow, and they actually live further south unless you're talking about the giant sloth. Whoa! Megalonyx jeffersoni used to live right here, 12 feet tall. Yes, way down at the end. Giraffes. Actually, an ancient ancestor of the giraffe originated in North America and crossed the Bering Straits about the end of the last ice age. Way over here, animals that used to live here. Yes? A dog. Dogs are first domesticated by the American Indians right here. That's exactly right. Best answer yet. Give her a round of applause. Though you two are right as well. One more. Yes, ma'am. A cheetah. That's another animal that originated in North America and migrated to Asia and Africa. You guys know more about science than you thought you knew. All together, I know you all want to turn, grown-ups too. I'm going to count to 3, and then you shout out your favorite wild animal. One word. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All those animals were made. And all those animals went splash, splash, splash into the ocean. Because remember, the earth was covered with water. Now, some of them, like deer, with their skinny legs, they had trouble swimming. He almost drowned. Some of the birds, they had to fly all the time. If they wanted to land, sploosh, into the water they went. There's no land to land upon, except for Duck. With webs between his toes and oil in his feathers, Duck loved all that water. But after a while, as you could imagine, the birds grew tired of flying. The other animals grew tired of swimming. And so they gathered in a council circle, because native people believe, as I believe, and I hope you believe, we all have a good mind when we use it. And when we put our minds together, we come up with the best ideas. So in that way, everyone was listened to. Everyone was given that respect. And someone said, we need a place to rest. Someone else said, Gitchimanatu made the world. Why don't we ask Gitchimanatu to make a place for us to rest? Someone else said, that's a good idea. But how are we going to talk to Gitchimanatu? Somebody said, eagle. Eagle can fly higher than any other bird. Maybe we'll ask eagle to carry our prayers. And so it is still to this day. When native people wish to pray, we use an eagle feather. Eagle spread his wings and began to fly higher and higher. And when eagle reached the sky world, eagle said, Gitchimanatu, please, my friends, we are tired of flying. They are tired of swimming. Will you make a place for us to rest? And Gitchimanatu said, yes. But first, I want you to learn that all life gives to life. And that is how life is to be lived. So I need your help. I need one of you to swim to the bottom of the ocean and get a small ball of mud. And I'll turn that mud into land for you to rest upon. Well, eagle flew back down and told the animals what I just told you. And you know what they did? They started arguing. I'm the best swimmer there is. If anybody can go to the bottom of the ocean, it's me. Oh, no, you're not. I'm a better swimmer than you. No, no, no. She's the best swimmer. No, he's the best swimmer. Now, has arguing ever solved the problem? Nope. As soon as they stopped arguing, out came Grandma Turtle. Grandma Turtle said, nah, I know I may not be the best swimmer. And I know I'm pretty old. But I think I can swim to the bottom of the ocean and get that small ball of mud if you'll give me a chance, please. But all the animals, and here's where I need your help. Close your eyes for just a moment. Imagine you are your favorite wild animal you mentioned a moment ago. All the animals repeat after me. You can open your eyes. They said, Grandma, you're too old. Can you say that like you mean it? Grandma, you're too old. You go home and take a nap. Try that. You go home and take a nap. Leave this for us young ones. We'll take care of it. Can you try that? Leave this for us young ones. We'll take care of it. Now, you think you can say that all together, but this time say it with attitude? Say it with me all together. Grandma, you're too old. You go home and take a nap. Leave this for us young ones. We'll take care of it. Great job. Give yourself a round of applause. Now remember, it comes up again. And the truth is, do we have any grandmas here? I just became a grandpa 3 weeks ago. And I will tell you, grandpas love naps. Naps are good for you. So Grandma went on home and she took a nap. Now as soon as she was gone, out came Beaver. Beaver said, I was made for living in the water. I have webs between my toes to help me swim. I have oil in my fur to keep me warm in the cold water. And I have a big, wide, flat tail. If anyone can swim to the bottom of the ocean, it's me, said Beaver. Well, all the animals agreed. Beaver should go first. So Beaver took a great, big, deep breath. All together. And he swam down and down and down. Now the other animals are watching. He went so deep he disappeared. All they saw were a few bubbles coming up. They thought, beaver's gonna drown. No one can hold their breath for that long. But beavers can hold their breath for more than 3 minutes. Beaver kept swimming down and down, deeper and deeper, until finally... he came to the top. And in his paw, he had nothing. The ocean was too deep. So out came Grandma Turtle. And she said, I know I'm pretty old. Truth is, I'm probably older than all of you added up together, except for this young man right here. But I think I can do it. Will you give me a chance, please? And you know what they said? All together, the animals said, Grandma, you're too old. You go home and take a nap. Leave this for us young ones. We'll take care of it. All right, she said. And she went off to take another nap. Now, as soon as she was gone, out came Muskrat. Muskrat said, Beaver, he's cool, but I'm better. And I'll tell you why. I have webs between my toes to help me swim just like Beaver, but I'm better. And I'll tell you why. I have oil in my fur to keep me warm in the cold water, just like Beaver, but I'm better. And I'll tell you why. Instead of that wide old, flat old, fat old tail, I have a long, skinny tail, moves like a snake. If anybody can swim the bottom of the ocean, it's me, said Muskrat. So all the animals agreed. Muskrat should go next. Muskrat took a great big deep breath all together and swam down and down and down. Now the other animals are watching. He went deeper than Beaver. He went so deep even the bubbles stopped coming up. And they thought, oh no, Muskrat, no one can hold their breath for that long, but they can hold their breath for more than 5 minutes. A muskrat kept swimming down and down until finally a muskrat came up, and in his paws he had nothing. The ocean was too deep. So out came Grandma Turtle. And the animal said, Grandma, you're too old. You go home and take a nap. Leave this for us young ones. We'll take care of it. Many animals tried, and no one could do it. Some of the birds, they thought if they could fly really high, they could dive, sploosh really deep. Did you know some cormorants, and we have double-crested cormorants in the Illinois River, they can dive 20, 30 feet down. The Pacific cormorant can dive 120 feet down, but not to the bottom, the depths of the ocean. No one could do it. Until finally, everyone had tried. Everyone except... She came out one last time. She said, you don't think I can do it, do you? Truth be told, I'm not sure I can, but I think I can. Will you give me a chance, please? But the animals, they said, Grandma, roar! Wait 1 minute, said the bear. Wait 1 minute here. We had a turn. Don't you think it's fair we give Grandma Turtle a chance? How do you think it's fair? We are a democracy. Yeah, most of you voted. Next election, please, could everyone vote? If you're old enough. Bear said, come on, Grandma, show us your stuff. Now, Grandma Turtle knew two things maybe you don't know. She knew that all life gives to life, and that is how life is to be lived. But she also knew she could not do it. You thought she could. She could not do it unless all the animals helped. Will you help Grandma Turtle? Yeah. All together, take a great big deep breath with me. Ready? You need a bigger breath than that to get to the bottom of the ocean. Blow out all your air. Then take the biggest breath you ever took. Fill your belly, fill your chest. Hold it. And she started swimming down and down, deeper and deeper. Now, some animals couldn't hold their breath that long, so they faked it when no one was watching. They let it out, took another breath, and Grandma kept swimming down and down. She went deeper than muskrat and beaver combined. She thought, we're never going to see our grandma. No, they took that thought out of their mind, and they held on. They had hope, they had faith, and Grandma Turtle kept swimming down and down, deeper and deeper, until finally, she came to the top, and in her paws, underneath her fingernail was a little bit of mud. Let's hear for Grandma Turtle. Oh, 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 oh. Now Gitchi Manitou, who had been watching the whole time, said, Grandma, take that little ball of mud and roll it in a ball, which she did, and put it on your back, which she did. And with a bolt of lightning and a roar of thunder, that little ball of mud was turned into a huge island, more than 2,000 miles wide and 3,000 miles long. Now quietly raise your hand, all of you, if you've ever been to Turtle Island. You should all raise your hands. You're sitting on the turtle's back right now. Long before Amerigo Vespucci signed his map and this land was called America, we've called it Turtle Island. Imagine North America. You've all seen Florida? It sticks out like a leg. Baja California is another leg. Mexico's a big curved tail that gets skinny down by the Yucatan. Hudson Bay, Nova Scotia, a front arm. Alaska, another peninsula, another front arm. It looks like a turtle. Hold on! And it's swimming in the ocean. Hold on! Right now, North America's moving. That's why we have earthquakes in California. It moves about as fast as your fingernail grows, about an inch or two a year. But how many of you have ever seen a turtle before? Actually, I saw a box turtle in the woods just the other day. They're getting ready for hibernation. How many of you seen the cracks on a turtle's back? Some people believe those cracks are there because the turtle carries the weight of the world on her back. So next time you see a turtle, please do me a favor. Can you say thank you, Grandma, for what you did? And thank you for what you taught us? And what did she teach us? That all life gives to life, and that is how life is to be lived. Can you say that with me? All life gives to life, and that is how life is to be lived. Give yourself a round of applause. Thank you. Here's a song I learned from a Shawnee storyteller many years ago. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. The earth is our mother, she takes good care of us. How many of you take care of the earth? How many of you recycle? How many of you turn off the water while you're brushing your teeth? Maybe be careful about how much resources you use and use them more appropriately. How many of you walk or ride a bike to school sometimes? Or go for long walks instead of driving everywhere? What are some ways you can help take care of the earth? Listen and repeat. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. Try that. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. Listen. The earth is our mother, she takes good care of us. Try that. The earth is our mother, she takes good care of us. And here's my favorite part. Listen and repeat. Hey, younga ho, younga, hey, young, young. Try that 2 times. Hey, younga ho, younga, hey, young, young. Again. Hey, younga ho, younga, hey, young, young. All together, if you sing loud, everybody will hear you. Deep breath. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. The earth is our mother, she takes good care of us. Hey, younga ho, younga, hey, young, young. Hey, younga ho, younga, hey, young, young. One more time. Hey, younga ho, younga, hey, young, young. Hey, younga ho, younga, hey, young, young. Give yourself a round of applause. Now, one of the things I love about telling stories is I can imagine I'm anybody. And so can you when you're telling stories. You can imagine that you're an old man or old woman. You could be a little boy or a little girl. You could be an eagle. Roar! You could be a bear. You could be anything you want. But you can't be everybody at once. And there's a piece of wood I almost tripped over. You can't be everybody at once. So that's why I need your help. Oh, and right on cue, thank you. I need you to play the most important character that's coming in right now. Let me teach you a little song. It goes like this. Shh. You ever heard a song like that? You just heard a sound like that. Can you say shoo-ee as you breathe out, but make it sound like the wind? All together. Shh. Ah as you breathe in, but make it sound like the wind. O as you breathe out. E as you breathe in. All together. Shh. Now, if you're listening, every time I say, and the wind blows, you know what to do. Sometimes we'll sing the whole song, but most of the time we'll just do the first part, the shoo-ee. When I raise my hand, start singing. When my hand goes down, shh, I'll go on with the story. I'd like to invite you to be the most important character in the story. The wind is here to help. You be the wind. Oh, I must also tell you, this story is starting today. Over the next few days, you will see the proof that this is a true story that happens every year. And it's been happening for 18,000 years. Every year, this time of year. The story's beginning now. And you're part of this story. Many long winters ago, there was an old man by the name of Pebone. He was sitting by a small fire, trying to warm his bones. The cold wind howled all together. Shh. Icicles rattled in the trees. The snow swirled around him. All together, give me your best shiver. Brrr. He put another log on the fire. The flames flickered higher. The smoke carried by the wind. All together. Shh. As Pebone was sitting by the fire, his long hair in 2 braids hung to the ground, his face as wrinkled as the earth itself. Pebone, the old man, sat, trying to warm himself. He wrapped himself in an elk skin robe, Wapiti the elk, and as he sat there, along came a young man, his nephew, Seguin. Seguin also wore his hair in 2 short braids, and sometimes he wore flowers in his hair. But wherever he went, he was followed by a warm breeze. All together. Shh. Seguin gave his uncle a warm hug and settled in by the fire. Pebone, the old man, reached into his medicine bundle and pulled out the sacred pipe. He offered the kinnick to the 4 directions. He offered his prayers to the universe. And when the smoke was carried by the wind all together, shh, the smoke was carried to the world beyond. When they were through with their prayers, Pebone, the old man, put the pipe away. And then he began to tell stories. For you see, he was no ordinary old man. He was Old Man Winter. And as he began to talk, the wind began to howl all together. Shh. And it plucked every single leaf from every single tree in the forest. The geese were chased to the south as the wind blew all together. Shh. Have you seen the V's of geese today? I saw several of them as I was heading here. You ever notice one arm of the V is always longer than the other? You know why? There are more geese on that side. And they can fly 1,000 miles carried by the wind all together. Shh. With the help of the wind, he could chase the bear roar, into her cave to sleep for the coming snows. Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. The frog would go into the mud at the bottom of the pond, and the turtle too. With the help of the wind, shh, he could cover the world with ice and snow, for he was no ordinary old man. He was Old Man Winter. And when he was through telling his tale, look behind me, the full moon had risen. And Seguin began to tell his story. For you see, Seguin was no ordinary young man. With the help of the wind all together, shh, he could melt the ice and snow, and the river would flood with the spring thaw. With the help of the wind, shh, he could awaken the bear roar, with 2 cubs who came forth from her womb. With the help of the wind, shh, he could call the V's of geese back from the south. And seriously, you know why they fly in a V? Like an arrowhead, they cut the air. And the goose on the front works really hard, creating wind. And the goose coming behind rides that wind. And the real reason one arm of the V is longer? Because the further back you are, that current is stronger. And it pulls you along so you can rest. And when you're rested, then you take the lead. And the one who is leading falls back. And in that way, they can fly 1,000 miles, carried by the wind. Shh. With the help of the wind, ribbit, 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 the frog is awakened in the spring. With the help of the wind, the flowers bloom in the prairie. For Seguin was no ordinary young man. He was the youth of spring. And Pebone and Seguin told stories back and forth, late into the night. Until finally, Seguin, the young man, said, "Hey, Uncle Pebone, thank you for the stories. You honor me, but I am going to bed." And he gave his uncle a warm hug. And he crawled off to the wigwam. He pulled a bearskin robe over him. Outside, the wind howled one more time. Shh. But finally, he fell asleep And he dreamed of a field of flowers, butterflies of all colors. Meanwhile, out by the fire, Pebone, the old man, he put the last log on the fire. The flames burned down to coals and embers. The embers burnt away to ashes. And the old man, he began to cry. At first one tear and then another. And as he began crying, he began melting and melting. Meanwhile, inside the wigwam, in the morning, when Seguin awoke, he had kicked off the blankets. It was warm. He stepped out of the lodge. During the night, all the snow had melted. Where there used to be a fire, where his uncle used to be, all that was left was a puddle of water. And on the warm breeze that blew one last time, shh, you could hear the first birds of spring. Any whistlers? And this is the story of Pebone and Seguin, the story of winter into spring. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Folktales Folklore. Next time, invite your friends. And maybe you can send us a link to you telling one of your favorite folk tales, and we'll use it on an upcoming episode. Join our choir to fall in love with the world and all of its possibilities.